On February 24th, U.S. President Joe Biden inflicted further sanctions against Russia in reaction to the country's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Want to know more? Let's find out. Hey guys, welcome back to our channel, Warzone. In today's video, we are going to tell you about Joe Biden's severe new economic sanctions against Russia. But before we get started, make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of our incredible videos. On Monday, the Biden administration imposed new sanctions against Russia's central bank, effectively prohibiting Americans from doing business with the bank and freezing any assets within the country. The Russian Federation's National Wealth Fund and the Russian Federation's Ministry of Finance will also be targeted by the new sanctions. The fresh penalties will take effect immediately, according to a senior Biden administration source who spoke on the condition of anonymity in order to convey Washington's thinking. We wanted to put these actions in place before our markets opened because we learned over the weekend from our allies and partners that the Russian central bank was attempting to move assets and that there would be a great deal of asset flight starting Monday morning with institutions all over the world, the official said on the conference call with reporters. Our strategy, to put it simply, is to make sure that the Russian economy goes backwards, as long as President Putin decides to go forward with his invasion of Ukraine, the official added. According to Biden, new U.S. sanctions will target Russia's VTB bank, cutting it off from the U.S. financial system. Other new sanctions will target Russian oligarchs and the country's technology sector. Putin is the aggressor, says the author. President Putin picked this war, Biden said, adding that he and Russia will suffer the consequences. Before starting his premeditated attack, which he claimed violated international law, Biden said Putin refused pleas by the West to engage in conversation. This is going to cost the Russian economy a lot of money, both now and in the future, Biden warned. The sanctions are intended to have a long-term effect on Russia while having a minimal impact on the U.S. and its allies. He claims the measures will freeze the assets of 4 major Russian banks, halt more than half of Russia's high-tech imports of U.S. semiconductors and other high-tech goods, and sanction billionaires. Russia's capacity to transact in dollars, euros, pounds, and yen will be hampered as a result of the sanctions. Biden held off on enacting some of the most severe measures, such as excluding Russia from SWIFT payment system, which allows for global transfers of funds between banks. He also refused to impose any new restrictions on Russia's energy sector, but indicated that U.S. was willing to go farther. Biden remarked that the world has condemned Putin's conduct and predicted that the Russian president will be branded a pariah on the international scene. He went on to say that he has no intentions to meet with Putin. He also called the scenario a hazardous time for Europe as a whole, but predicted that freedom will triumph. Biden stated again that the U.S. soldiers would not be engaged in the fight with Russia in Ukraine, but pledged to defend every inch of NATO territory. He stated that he had authorized the deployment of more U.S. troops to Germany. His declaration was the second big round of penalties against Russia since Putin proclaimed 2 districts in eastern Ukraine as autonomous earlier this week. On February 22nd, Biden announced the first wave of sanctions, which included 2 significant Russian banks, Russian sovereign debt, and several individuals of the Russian elite and their family members. The corporation in charge of developing Russia's Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline was sanctioned by Washington a day later. The United States is also sanctioning Kirill Dmitriev, a close confidant of Russian President Vladimir Putin, as well as the direct investment fund he runs. Officially, the Russian Direct Investment Fund, or RDIF, is a sovereign wealth fund, but it is largely seen as a slush fund for Putin. According to the official, the U.S. expects its partners to follow suit in the coming days. This comes after the United States and its allies stated over the weekend that they will adopt restrictive measures to prohibit Russia's central bank from using its international reserves in ways that could jeopardize sanctions. No country is immune to sanctions, a second senior administration official said Monday. Putin's war chest of $630 billion in reserves will only matter if he can use it to defend his currency. In recent weeks, the U.S. and its allies have slapped a slew of new sanctions on Russia in an effort to keep economic pressure on the Kremlin. These sanctions, implemented by the U.S. Department of Treasury and Commerce, have pushed Russian markets in a downward spiral. The Russian ruble sank to 101 per dollar on Monday, down from 83 on Friday, a decline of more than 20%. If this trend continues, it will be one of the greatest single-day drops in the value of Moscow's currency in history. The Bank of Russia, the country's central bank, intervened to stop the ruble's depreciation by more than doubling the country's benchmark interest rate from 9.5% to 20%. The rate boost is intended to entice savers to keep their money in Russian banks, which have been isolated from international markets by the West and its allies. The Russian central bank decided to keep the country's stock exchange, the Moscow Exchange, closed on Monday due to the massive market turmoil. The United States, European allies, and Canada decided on Saturday to suspend key Russian banks from the SWIFT network, interbank messaging system, an unprecedented measure that will cut Russia off from most of the global financial system. Due to Moscow's exclusion from SWIFT, or Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication, Russian banks will be unable to interact securely with banks outside of their borders. After advancements in the Iranian nuclear program, the country was kicked out of SWIFT in 2014. The European Commission, France, Germany, Italy, the United Kingdom, Canada, and the United States all want to restrict the selling of golden passports. The golden passport, according to a Biden administration official, are a loophole that allows affluent Russians with ties to the Kremlin to become citizens of other nations and have access to specific financial systems. The United States, the United Kingdom, and the European Union all announced penalties against Putin and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov on Friday. President Joe Biden threatened sanctions in the weeks preceding up to the invasion, in the hopes of discouraging Putin from future aggression against Ukraine. On Saturday morning, a ceasefire was scheduled in Mariupol, Ukraine's important port city, and Volnovka, Ukraine, to allow for humanitarian evacuations. The life-saving operation, however, came to a halt amid reports of Russian shelling. The Russian side has continued to fire on Mariupol and the surrounding area, despite the ceasefire, Kirilo Tymoshenko, deputy head of Ukraine President Vladimir Zelensky's administration, said. Meanwhile, Russian news agency RIA Novosti reported that the firing was directed at Russian positions, citing a statement from Russia's defense ministry. On Saturday evening, Russian President Vladimir Putin warned that Ukrainians' independence is in peril. He also compared the West's imposition of sanctions on Russia to declaring war. But thank God we haven't got there yet, Putin said during a meeting with flight attendants. He also said if any third party issued a no-fly zone over Ukraine, Moscow would consider it participation in the armed conflict. NATO had decided against a no-fly zone on Friday, lest it risk a direct altercation with Russia. According to a member of Congress who was on the call, Ukrainian President Zelensky made an impassioned plea directly to U.S. lawmakers in a Zoom call Saturday morning, begging for military planes and support, as well as a Russian oil embargo. According to another person on the conversation, Zelensky informed MPs that Ukraine needs planes because its air force was devastated on the first day of the Russian invasion. He also requested a Russian oil embargo, which he claimed would be the most important factor for Ukraine. There would not have been an invasion if sanctions had been in place in September or October, Zelensky told legislators. The Russian military has taken control of Europe's largest nuclear power facility, Zaporizhzhia, according to Ukrainian authorities. A fire that broke out inside the compound in Enerhodar, Ukraine's southeastern city, when it was attacked by Russian soldiers in the early hours of Friday, has been put out. Several Western officials have criticized Russia's suspected attack on the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power facility, calling the attack reckless. Sanctions against Russia have thrown the country's economy into disarray and prompted widespread condemnation of Russian President Vladimir Putin around the world. The Biden administration is now exploring fresh sanctions that may harm customers in the United States. The administration says it's looking into ways to reduce American consumption of Russian energy, but it's concerned about the impact on consumers. And that's all, guys. What are your thoughts on today's video? Share with us in the comment section below. Hit the subscribe button for the daily updates, and until next time, have a good day and pray for peace.